already been arrested for DUI.
When did you get arrested?
March.
March. Lean that way towards me. There you go.
Please don't arrest me.
It's not my choice, okay?
On March 28, 2026, officers with the Panama City Beach Police Department arrested 18-year-old Olivia Rimar of McDonough, Georgia, during spring break. The subject had presented a fictitious identification document at a beachside establishment, was visibly intoxicated, and refused to leave the premises. The encounter raised critical questions about the felony consequences of fake identification in Florida. Custodial arrest discretion for out-of-state subjects, and the legal exposure facing underage spring breakers.
Even better. Okay. Cool. Hey, sir.
Recording.
Fake ID. She says it's a real name and her birthday is 05. I was just about to.
It's 05, not 02.
Okay.
Hey, 517.
Drunk. They kicked her off the car. Pulled her off the car. She was so drunk. She wasn't leaving, and when they approached her, she handed them that.
517, go ahead.
Okay.
No tag on a gray Hyundai Sonata.
I'll run her real quick.
Big
Make sure that's
Washington County number 8 primary.
I talked to Dylan. He said that he just wanted her to get home safe more than anything because she kept down with the trash can, so I don't think
You said I wasn't leaving?
You're the tank.
definitely.
I never told any officer that I was never leaving.
Fair enough. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just heard what y'all said, and y'all said that I was never leaving. That was never an option.
Do you have friends out here?
There is another girl that's with her.
Where's she at?
She went back inside. She's supposed to be coming back out. I got her room key too.
Nice. Okay.
223, go ahead.
Let's give her a call so she can come out here.
Alabama.
Call her so she'll be right here. Her phone's
Charles
dead.
1.
Oh.
Nora, Boyd, X-ray. Get red for focus.
Is she going or not to work? Know where hotel shit's at?
Do what now?
Is she going here?
Are
Know
you
where
closer
hotel shit's at?
to the upside down house or the Barnum Morning?
I don't think so.
Where are you staying at?
I'm staying at Bikini Bottom Resort.
Bikini what?
Bikini Bottom Resort.
Bikini Bottom. All right, so we don't have a Bikini Bottom Resort here.
That's close to
Yeah.
Down the road.
Bikini Beach?
Bikini Beach.
Okay. Oh, so we know where you're
I've been trying to get her to go
Nice.
for like a half an hour.
Awesome.
That is not me.
Huh?
50 to
I'm
35.
not talking about me.
Oh, he's most certainly talking about you, yes.
No, because I've only been here for half an hour.
Okay, they've been dealing with you for a minute.
46 turn rate.
What's that?
Can we grab a friend one more time?
Yeah, if we can.
Are you 10-6?
Alright.
I was about to walk over there, but
Let's,
I'm not 10-6.
Officers conferring on scene noted a key discrepancy in the identification document. The birth month listed as May did not match the subject's actual birth month of February. Under Florida Statute Section 322.212, possession of a fictitious, forged, or counterfeit driver license is classified as a third-degree felony. A third-degree felony in Florida carries penalties of up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $5,000. This is not a traffic ticket. This is a criminal record. There is one narrow exception. If the sole alteration is the date of birth on an otherwise legitimate document, the charge is reduced to a second-degree misdemeanor, up to 60 days in jail and a $500 fine. This distinction matters. Whether the subject possessed a completely fabricated identification or simply altered her birth date determines whether she faces a felony or a misdemeanor.
you happen to have a cage by chance?
He does. I don't. I'm in that black gun mark. Ain't no cage in it.
Okay. Alright. Let's put her up in a cage, 17, and then I'll bring my...
Is there anybody down in the elbow?
I'll bring my car back around, so if y'all just take her on there and put her in the cage, and I'll bring my shit over there. I'll meet y'all over there.
How are the light towers doing in this wind? Do we need to settle down? We can work on that next right now. We want it on every call.
don't live here, so we don't get that choice.
I can come up here.
You don't have a license. And you're 21.
I do have a license for 45 days.
Yeah, court date ain't gonna be 45 days.
My court date is October 29th.
20 years old.
April 29th.
You don't want to swap cuffs on her?
Yeah, if we get the friend out here, because if we can get the friend, all this knows to the friend can't show up, then she can go across.
Okay.
Oh, I got flex cuffs we can put on her for now, so
I
we can
got
get
flex
your.
too.
I'll go grab.
Hold off on the flex right now. I mean, unless you have a cutter.
I have a knife.
The friend's not coming out?
Friend's not coming out.
I'll go talk to her.
Your friend goes, yeah.
Sounds good to me.
She might have a fake.
She probably has a fake too.
Probably has a fake.
Double check her ID. She probably got a fake as well.
County to home 15.
She's probably got a fake. Hey, they're calling you, Curtis.
Home 15.
All right, I'll grab paperwork.
Confirming that Alabama DL. That's correct. Therefore, that doesn't return either.
Don't fucking return either.
Name and birthday drill.
I ain't got no car to lift you.
Swap this cuff. Yeah.
Kelly, straight that way. Turn around 50. There you go.
Here, I'll put these on her first, and then we'll switch those ones.
All right.
I'll put another cuffs on you, okay?
Go put other handcuffs on you.
Am I going to jail?
Hey, are you going to jail?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me fix your thumb. Maybe. There we go. Put your hands. There we go.
Yeah, handcuffs on you.
Yeah. Just trying to get them a little bit tightened down. She got small
Why am I
wrists.
going to jail?
All right, lift your hands up for me. She got small wrists. I'll do this after. It's hard to.
You're good, man.
Hey, why am I going to jail?
Cause it just fell in my pocket. Oh, my other handcuff key.
What fell?
My other handcuff key. I'll grab it in a second. Leave your hand right there for me, okay? Where are you from?
From Alabama.
What part of Alabama are you from?
Please.
Put your hand back behind your back.
Oh, it's just,
Please, I've already been arrested for DUI.
when did you get arrested?
March.
March. Lean that way toward. There you go.
Please don't arrest me.
It's not my choice, okay? You need to pick your hand up a little bit. There you go, just like that. Don't move them. All right.
Get your key.
If that's...
I got it. 14.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All right.
Cool.
We're gonna step out. We're gonna go to a different vehicle, okay?
Yep. So these guys got to go home.
Can I not talk to somebody?
You can talk to somebody. Come on, they'll step out though.
Cool.
Officers ran the identification through law enforcement databases. It returned no valid results, confirming the document was fictitious and establishing probable cause for arrest. Before proceeding with a custodial arrest, officers attempted to locate a friend who could take custody of the subject. This effort reflects appropriate use of discretion under Florida law. Under Florida Rule of Criminal Procedure 3.125, officers have discretion to issue a notice to appear rather than make a physical arrest for misdemeanor offenses. However, this discretion has limits. A notice to appear requires that the subject can be reliably identified and is reasonably likely to appear for a future court date. Here, the subject had no valid identification and did not reside in Florida. She was significantly intoxicated, so impaired that when asked where she was staying, she initially answered Bikini Bottom Resort, a fictional location from an animated television series. These factors, no valid identification, out-of-state residency, and significant intoxication, made a custodial arrest not only justified, but arguably the only responsible option. The subject attempted to negotiate her release, stating she would appear for a court date. The officer correctly responded that because she does not live in Florida, That option was not available.
You don't live here, so we don't get that choice.
She then referenced an existing court date and admitted to a prior arrest for driving under the influence, also in March. At 18 years old, she now faced her second arrest in the same month. During the custodial process, the subject voluntarily disclosed she was carrying a knife. Under the search incident to arrest doctrine established in United States v. Robinson, officers were already authorized to conduct a full search. However, her voluntary disclosure contributed to officer safety and demonstrated a degree of cooperation that would factor into the overall assessment of her conduct. Officers applied flex cuffs after the subject reportedly slipped her initial handcuffs. Under Graham v. Connor, the reasonableness of this escalation is judged from the officer's perspective at the time of the decision. An arrestee who has demonstrated the ability to defeat restraints presents an elevated security risk. The decision to apply tighter flex cuffs was tactically sound and legally proportionate. When the subject asked why she was being arrested, the officer stated, "Because you have a fictitious DL." This satisfies the due process requirement that an arrested individual be informed of the basis for arrest. Notably, the subject characterized her charge as a misdemeanor. This reflects a common misconception. Most fake identification offenses in Florida are felonies, not misdemeanors.
Alright, so you're gonna be in the back of my car. There is a dog back there. Don't bark at him, don't talk to him, don't wolf at him, don't do nothing like that. Otherwise, I will charge you for another misdemeanor. Is that understood?
No.
2345.
Okay, what don't you understand about it?
I don't understand why I'm being charged with a misdemeanor.
Because you have a fictitious DL. So, do you understand not to bark at him?
Watch where you're stepping.
There's a big gap. Do you understand? Scoot your butt. There you go. Okay. Yeah, just toss that front. Do you understand not to bark or do anything to my dog? I want to make sure that you're clear on it. Do you understand that? Okay.
2345.
So there is transport van. Where? I don't know. But I will take her transport van.
2484, go ahead.
Step out, please.
David, Sam, 9446. David, Sam, 9446,
Because I
Georgia.
asked you to step
We got
out,
a
please.
gray
Either a cop or
Mazda sedan,
Yes.
Hungry Howie's property.
No, you're not.
100% on. Come on, step out.
2354.
Stand right there. Alright, let's go.
So weird.
The van. Over here. This way. Hello, sir. I have a female for you. She's already slipped her cuffs once, so this flex are a little bit tight, so she wants to slip them.
Never slipped my cuffs.
You 100% did.
No, I didn't.
Have a seat. Watch her head. She's pretty intoxicated. Okay.
Do you think it's to the point that she needs medical?
She's a little tipsy and she's crying about being arrested.
The subject was transferred to a K-9 unit vehicle for transport. The K-9 officer provided clear verbal instructions regarding the police dog standard protocol that protects both the arrestee and the animal. Before transport, officers assessed the subject's medical condition. Under City of Revere versus Massachusetts General Hospital, officers have a constitutional duty to provide medical care to individuals in custody. The arresting officer determined that the subject's distress was emotional rather than medical, describing her as a little tipsy and crying about being arrested. The transport proceeded without medical intervention. According to Bay County booking records, the subject was booked at 6:53 p.m. She was charged with disorderly conduct, providing alcohol to a person under 21, and 2 counts of resisting an officer without violence. Total bond was set at $6,000. Notably, the booking charges did not include a specific charge under Florida Statute 322.212 for the fictitious identification. This may indicate that prosecutors elected to proceed with lesser charges, or that the fictitious identification charge was handled through a separate filing. The final case disposition was not located through available records. The officers of the Panama City Beach Police Department collectively receive a B+. The initial investigation was thorough. Officers identified the fraudulent document, confirmed intoxication, and attempted alternatives before arresting. The use of force remained minimal, limited to handcuffing and physical escort, the lowest levels of the force continuum. Communication was clear, and the officers maintained patience throughout the subject's emotional distress. Minor deductions apply. The medical assessment could have been more thorough. An officer referenced the subject as being 21, relying on the fraudulent document rather than confirmed dispatch information. Overall, a professional encounter. Olivia Rimar receives a D+. Possessing a fictitious identification is a potential felony. She was so intoxicated she could not name her own hotel. She admitted to a prior DUI arrest in the same month. She reportedly slipped her handcuffs, elevating the security response. Her only mitigating factors were the voluntary knife disclosure, the absence of physical violence, and verbal compliance with most commands. The D+ reflects a situation almost entirely of her own making. At 18 years old, she now faces a potential criminal record that could impact employment, housing, and educational opportunities for years. 3 lessons emerge from this encounter for anyone watching. First, a fake ID is not a minor offense. In Florida and many other states, possession of a fictitious identification is a felony. One night at a bar is not worth 5 years of prison exposure and a permanent criminal record. Second, out-of-state visitors have fewer options when arrested. Without local residency, valid identification, or the ability to appear for court, officers are far more likely to proceed with a custodial arrest rather than a notice to appear. Third, prior offenses compound new charges. The subject's prior DUI arrest eliminated any argument that this was an isolated lapse in judgment. Pattern behavior influences prosecutorial decisions, judicial sentencing, and civil liability exposure. For law enforcement, this encounter reinforces the importance of exhausting alternatives before custodial arrest, conducting thorough medical assessments of intoxicated arrestees, and clearly communicating the basis for charges. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for even more police interaction and courtroom content.